Hari Om, Sarve Janaha Sugino Bhavantu, Dirghashman Bhava, Dirgha Sumangali Bhava, Kanyastribhyaha Shigrameva Vivaha Praptirastu, Sarve Janaha Sugino Bhavantu Tadastu. So I am continuing my lectures on Bible versus Bhagavad Gita. This is part 7 in English. So let me go directly. See, if you take the Bible, especially from Matthew, chapter 15, and verse number 24, I am reading directly from the Bible, and this is the matter. This is the text. Verse number 24 in chapter 15. Okay. Jesus says, I am not sent but unto the lost. Going away is missing. Unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So he very clearly says, and you can read the above and the below paragraph, which I don't want to go at length. He very clearly says, he sent only to find the lost sheep of Israel. You understand the point? That is, see, Israel had a lot of tribes, Hittites, Canaanites, or whatever. Canaanites were a separate land of Canaan, they say. And some of them, the Jews, the tribes in Israel, scattered nearby, and they got lost from the main tribes, main settlements. So they were scattered. So the sheep, they'll be in a flock. And the small other goats or other sheep, they would suddenly stray away and they go and find some pastures and get missed from the flock. Even in any cattle, even buffaloes you can find in Animal Planet or whatever it is in YouTubes. They all stay together, flock, the deer, the sheep, the cattle, the cows. They all stay together as a flock. If one of them is missing, you can find even the lion goes in search of its a kid, the small one, the cubs. So, Jesus is very clear. I have been sent by my Father, he says, but that is understood. He doesn't say in these exact words. But to find the lost, the missing sheep of Israel. That means he has come here only to find out the lost sheep of Israel. That is for the Israel tribes. Never he says, never in Bible anywhere Jesus says that I am going to India or I am going to Far East to help everybody or to preach there. Nothing I could find in these records. But this is very clear. That's what even the commentaries you can find later on by a lot of people on this verse, that he has specifically come to find the lost sheep of Israel. That means he is for that region, locality, and he is not for the Hindus or for the Indians or for the Easterners, like Chinese and all. Therefore, this is a very valuable point here, what we should see from the Bible I am quoting directly. When such be the case, how does the Indian Christian say that he is a universal God, he is for everybody? Maybe a prophet we should respect. Atithi Devo Bhava. Never in Hindus or Hinduism system or Hindu philosophy we should criticize or backbite any prophet, especially prophet, let it be Jesus or Prophet Muhammad or other prophets like Guru Gobind Singh. Nobody we should, even Buddha, everybody we should treat as a God. But this Churchianists, as Swami Kriyananda, his original name was Mr. Walters, he is American. He says that this Churchianity, the missionaries want to somehow market their way of thinking. So they rewrite, even they have rewritten Bible also. That's what is my understanding, to market it. So Jesus says that he has come to find the lost sheep of Israel. He wants to lead Israelites, Jews, so that some may be unruly, and that was very correct and very good in those times. But let us see what Bhagavad says. Bhagavad very clearly says in chapter 10, verse number 42, if you see, Athava Bahuna Yetena Kim Nyatena Tava Arjuna, he talks to Arjuna, Vishtabhyam Aham Idam Kritsnam Eka Amshena Stitaha Jagat. Sthito Jagat is the actual word, but I'm just splitting for some convenience. Jagat means the world. So what Bhagavan says, Bhagavan Athava means, I'm going from the first, Athava means or, generally it means or. Athava means they say in conversational Sanskritam, Athava, or you can go there, Tvam Tatra Gacchato. So Athava, Bhagavan says very clearly, Bahuna etena, Bahuna means lots, Bahu, in Hindi also, Bahuna, by this, Bahuna etena. Eshaha etau saha taute means Eshaha etau ete etam etau etan etena etabhyam etaihi, likewise the conjugation goes. So etena, with this or by this. Etena kim, what, which kim? Jnatena, by which knowledge of yours, tava Arjuna, of yours Arjuna. What do you want to do? What do you think of this knowledge? Because Bhagavan says, any knowledge throughout the world, Bhagavan says, Vishtabhyam aham idam. This here, Vishtabhyam, means it comes from the Dhatu Vish, means I told you Vishnu, means presence everywhere, pervading, all pervading, Sarvavyapi. Vishtabhyam aham idam Krishnam. Krishnam is a very Vedic word, complete, Purnam, Sampurnam, Enakshara Samamnaya, like that we say in Sanskritam. Enakshara Samamnaya Adhigamya Maheshwarat Krishnam Vyakaranam Proktam Tasmai, to him Paninaye, to Panini Namaha, means the Krishnam is a very beautiful word of Panini also. It's an original Sanskrit. So Krishnam Eka Amsham, by my Eka, Amsham is a portion, but when he says Eka Amsham, I would say that he need not say Lagu Amsham or small Amsham. Eka Amsham, he says, means one Amsham, Eka Amsham, Sthitaha Jagat. I stand here means I am everywhere with my just a dot. Amsha means portion. Eka means one. So one dot, I am one portion. I am there in everywhere. Sthitaha, I am standing there. He is for everybody. Bhagavan Krishna is for everybody, universal, not only to the Jews, not only to the Caucasians, not only to the Islam, is not only to the Indians, everybody, he says, I am in this Jagat, in this whole world. I am not for a particular tribe. You see, the verse of 15:24 of Matthew is a challenge to philosophical intelligence. Because anybody of a God, if you know, I am talking especially of the Indian missionaries. Oh, there is no universality here. Because he says the lost sheep of Israel only, he says. Jesus says, these are words of Jesus as written by Matthew. But I do not know whether Jesus has really told, or this Matthew or somebody in the name of Matthew also could have conjectured and written or rewritten or shaped it up in the times to come. Even Jews could have shaped it up. We don't know, because we don't know. Because he is a prophet, he is a son of God. And Vasudhaiva Kudumam, we Hindus should worship everybody. Give respect to everybody. That is the idea. That is the basic tenet. But here, I am talking to those two teachers and to those Indian pastors or priests who preach, who proselytize Hindus to Christianity especially. Now, this is what he says. Jesus does not appear to be universal, but he has been sent for the lost sheep of Israel. You see, when such is the verse, now my dear two teachers, you please tell me whether you are going to say not to read Bhagavad Gita, or whether you are going to say read Bhagavad Gita as well as Bible. Whether you are going to prevent students or intelligentsia reading Bhagavad Gita, or whether you are going to advocate, recommend also to read Bhagavad Gita. That is the point. See, that is my main point. Everybody is one. Vasudhaiva Kudumam. Everybody is one under the universal Paramatma. We are all one. There should not be any differences, no criticism, no ahimsa. Everybody should love everybody. But when you start these counter arguments like that against Bhagavad Gita or Hindu philosophy, it is very difficult for you to match the brilliance of the Bhagavad Gita or the Hindu philosophy. Now, next verse I am going is to Exodus. If you take Exodus from Bible, chapter 7, verse number 20. Verse number 20. If you go to chapter, Exodus chapter 22, verse number 20, I am reading as it is. He that sacrifices unto any god, except unto the Lord only, they are talking of the biblical Bible God, he shall be utterly destroyed. Oh my God, that's a strong one. That is, they have something called false god. Everywhere you can see, they will say about false gods. The pagan gods, the tribes of Israel or that area they were worshipping, they would call them as false gods. See, I would think there is God means God. You cannot have a false God. It's a wrong English also. A God is complete by itself. You can say a false devil or a false teacher. A teacher can be a wrong or right, or he can be an imposter. But when you use the word God, it is final, because these are all oxymorons. In oxymorons, they will say deafening silence. How can silence deaf you? You get deaf by hearing huge noise, blasts. Your eardrums will break, and then a person becomes deaf. That is understood. If you say deafening silence, what is the meaning? They would say exact estimate. How an estimate can be exact, sir? Estimate is an estimate which is not an exact. It may be plus or minus here and there, but they will say exact estimate. They will say they are alone together. That is not correct English. They are alone. Okay, stop there. They are alone together. Alone is a different word, and another together is a different word. And they will say it's an open secret. How can secret be open? If it is open, it cannot be secret. So a God cannot be a false God. Say God. Or say an imposter, a preacher who is an imposter. But that's how they talk. You see? And so in Exodus 22, he says, 22:20, very strong. I shall read to you once again. He that sacrifices unto any god except unto the Lord only, the biblical God, he shall be utterly destroyed. My God. So suppose I worship a false god. Okay, let them in their own language, I worship a god. Thinking that he is a god, I worship a tree. Thinking that he is a tree or an idol, thinking that he is a god. My mind is towards the biggest power in the on the universe. But if I worship there, I shall be brought before them and shall be utterly destroyed. They shall be utterly destroyed. Well, that is too harsh a word. It doesn't appeal to philosophical intelligence. It's a challenge to human intelligence. Is it not? When you use context like this, let us see what Bhagavad Gita says. Bhagavad Gita, you may have lots of gods. See, Bhagavan is very clear, very beautiful, very polite, tolerant, Kshama. That's what he says. I told you yesterday's lecture. Kshama. Antavantu phalam tesham tat bhavati alpamedasam devan devayajah yajaha yanti madbhaktaha mam yanti mamapi. See, antavat, see what happens is, anta means end, perishable. Antavat, those things which are perishable. Antavat, phala means fruits. Tesham, of those. The fruits are perishable. What happens? Antavat palam tesham. That happens. Tatu bhavati alpamedasham. Those who are not intelligent. Those who are worshipping the demigods. That's what he says. The lower level of tribal people who may worship a tree or a snake or a cow, whatever it is, if you feel, or any animal or anything, the alpamedasam. But Bhagavan says it is correct also. What happens is Devan to the Devas, Deva yajaha yanti. Who are these yajas? The worshippers. Deva yajaha means the worshippers of Devas. Devan to Deva. It's a Dvitiya Vibhakti. There is a exception, apavadaha by Panini, second vibhakti can be used instead of generally the Chaturthi vibhakti 2 or 4 is a karna karta, they mean for reason, for, or 2 also they say, you can, but to a place if you go, ham gramam gachami. So the plural will be graman like that. I go to Ramas like that. I go to the Gramas. So Devan, Deva Yajah. Devan, Deva Yajah Yanti. They go. I saw Yati singular. Yanti is plural. Mat Bhaktah. My. Mat Bhaktah. What happens? Mat Bhaktah Yanti go to Mam. Means me. Api also. You can say also or only like that. So what he says, if you worship the demigods, you will go to their abode. Devan, Deva, Yajaha, Yanti, you will go to their abode. The fruits are perishable. They are not permanent. Who does it? Alpa Medasham. People of lower intelligence. There are people, nobody can be Einstein or Oppenheimer or Dr. Subramaniam Chandrasekhar or Dr. C.V. Raman or Dr. Hargobind Khorana. Like that, there are Dr. Amartya Sen. They're all intelligent people of a higher order. There are a lot of people like that. I don't know, I can't quote all the names, but there are people of lower intelligence also, some tribes. We had tribes. India was full land of tribes, and it was Adi Bhagavat Pada Shankaracharya who reformed the tribes and brought them into the fold of Hinduism. So he says, Bhagavan says, they will go there. Suppose I worship the dog, I will have a small benefit. If I respect a 8th standard maths teacher, I will have a benefit up to that 8th standard level. But then if I want to proceed further, high school maths teacher, then doctorate maths teacher for my doctoral degrees in mathematics, like that. So it's not that he's prohibiting, he does not say he will destroy them, he will destroy all the demigods. Where does Bhagavan say? Devan, Deva, Yajaha, you will go to them place. By people with a little intelligence, but the phalam of those is very perishable. It's not a permanent or an eternal. Only if you go and reach the feet of Bhagavan, then you will have the moksha prapti, permanent moksha prapti. You will not be born again and again. Very clear. So athava, otherwise, that's what Bhagavan says. Bhagavan says very clearly, Alpa, this phalam, tesham, the fruits, phalam tesham, tatu bhavati. It will happen. They will get the fruits, but perishable fruits for those people who do not have that intelligence. Alpa, medhavi we say, no, medasham, of those medhavis. Alpa medhavis, that's all. So he never criticizes. He never says they will be destroyed. He never says that all the demigods will be destroyed. Does he say? No. He says very clearly the practical thing. You can worship a dog also. It will be loyal to you up to a point. But it cannot create the world. It cannot bring you the wealth you think you want to have. It can protect you, your house to some extent against a robber, a thief, a chota thief, like that. But he can't protect you maybe against a big army. No, that is what Bhagavan says here. His explanations are very polite, very diplomatic, very sensible, appeals to philosophical intelligence of a common man. When he says like that, Tesham phalam tesham tatu bhavati alpamedasham, but they will go to Yanti, they will go to only to those abodes of those demigods, Devan, Deva, Yajaha, those worshippers. The alpamedasham who worship the Devas is required. If you worship the wind, means it will also oblige you, the wind god. To an extent, it can control the vayu, the air. Even some people have told that it will reduce the tufan or the what they say, the storm. There are there. But for moksha prapti, you have to be his devotee. Matu bhakta, bahuvachanam. So, such a sensible Bhagavan in Bible, in Bhagavad Gita it is there. If you compare to Bible, then how do the teacher says, don't read Bhagavad Gita, read only Bible? What is the logic? You have to say, read everything. Understand, you yourself will evaluate. Every book is a holy book. It was required for those people, level of intelligence of those people, for those tribes at that point of time. But nowadays, if you say destroy him, slay him before me and all, you will be arrested in the law. Even American laws, you can't slay anybody, kill anybody. You will be arrested. You can't even stone to death even if you have committed adultery as prescribed in Abrahamic text. Definitely, the local law is supreme and nobody really takes these laws into account. They only go by the practical law. That practical law is Bhagavan. You will be responsible for your own action. You will take birth and Janmani, I told in the last session number 6. You will be born and you will suffer the same way as the other person or animal or creature had suffered. Then let us see the another verse, that is John 6:56. It's another interesting verse which says, well, I didn't like it, I didn't really appreciate it. Jesus says in John 6 chapter, verse number 56. I'm reading verbatim. He that eats my flesh and drinks my blood dwells in me and I in him. So Bhagavan also said, we have quoted Mayi te, they in me, and teshu cha api aham, and amongst them also I am there. It's a beautiful verse of Bhagavan. I think it is in chapter 6, verse number 30. What is this? Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam mayi pashyati tasya aham na pranashyami cha sa cha hi sa cha me na pranashyati. To me, they also don't die. What is that beautiful verse? Yomam pashyati sarvatra. Yo, yaha, mam, me, yo, mam, it will come. Yomam pashyati, those who see me everywhere. Pashyati, sarvatra. Sarvatra, sarvam mayi pashyati. Mayi, I told you in the chapter 6 itself, is saptami vibhakti, on me or in me. Sarvam, all creatures they say in me. Yomam pashyati sarvatra, those who see me everywhere and see everything in me. Tasya, of him, aham. Tasya is a Shashti vibhakti of sahataute tam tautan tena tabhyam taihi tasmai tabhyam tebhya tasmat tabhyam tebhya tasya tayoho tesham tasmin tayoho teshu tasya tayoho tasya ekavachanam of him, possessive case. So tasya aham na pranashyami, I don't die before him means I will not abandon him. Tasya aham na pranashyami sa hi cha and me to me na pranashyati. He will also not die to me. That means he will be eternal. Bhagavan says very clearly, this flesh, drinking the flesh and drinking the blood. Maybe Jesus as a prophet would have told that if you believe in me, I live in you and you live in me. That's a good verse. That's a good word. But if you eat my flesh and drink my blood, I mean, that's a words are not suitable, palatable in modern day life systems. Is it? Am I not right? I am leaving it to you, whether it is right or wrong, but Bhagavan here says, Yaha yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam mayi pashyati tasyaha hamna, I will not abandon them, na pranashyami. Pranashyami means die. I die means a person says, or he dies means pranashyati, means abandoning, disappearing, like that you can take in this context. They don't die before me, neither would I die to them. That means I will always be with them and they will always be eternal. They don't die. That's the beauty. So you can use the words. The idea may be the same of what is this, John 6:56 versus Bhagavad Gita verse chapter 6 and 30. But the way of putting it, the philosophical intelligence, the lovely verses. Now with all these things, my dear teachers, you please tell me, will you ask your students to abandon Bhagavad Gita and read only Bible? If you come for an argument, then you will understand better. You will understand better Bhagavad Gita. It is a philosophical text applicable not only 6,000 years back. See the level of intelligence. When God says you see everything, see the ahimsa. You cannot even kill an animal because I live in them. You cannot kill even a mosquito. That's what I tell my friends. You just put some naphthalene balls in your ditch, or don't allow water to stay stagnate because it can breed, and make it unhappy for them. Take some tobacco, long ones that from the field, not the manufactured chemical added tobaccos. No, cut it and put it in long pieces in your garden or in the ditch, so that it creates an unhealthy or unpleasant smell for them. They don't come, they go away. That's enough for us. See, never we should have ahimsa. Even for Hindus, I am telling you, do not take non-vegetarian food at all. They are all living beings. They are all slightly below the level of human beings, that's all. You know, Kanchi Acharya, the very big Mahan, said, I take raw bananas or bananas because the banana plant grows and it is lived its life. And when this thing comes, when the banana shoots come, lots of bananas are there, there is a pain in its neck. And at that time also it has a shoot in its trunk. That is edible. That's also people eat. And therefore it cries, please take me, I am suffering. And its leaves, banana leaves, becomes a shade for its own children. It shoots. So when the sunlight doesn't come, its children do not grow. So it's begging to farmers and all. I have lived my life. I have yielded all the fruits, yielded the edible shoot inside my abdomen or in the trunk, and my children are dying. They want sunlight, so please take. And from banana you don't get another banana. It's only from the shoots the tree comes and then the banana grows, right? So you are not. That's what Kanchi Acharya says. He does not want to harm anybody. That's how he lived his life. Kanchi Mahaperiva. So a lot of Upadeshams are there. That type of ahimsa we have to follow, not himsa. The war you see in Ukraine and Russia. Okay, my dear friends, till such time I shall continue. Till such time, Bhuyat Tavat Shubhamangalam. Hari Om.